remember standing by the window, watching the rain crawl down the glass, thinking about how much I loved him, Daniel Reynolds, the man I believed I'd grow old with. He walked into the living room adjusting his tie, smiling that crooked smile that used to melt me. "You're staring at the rain again," he teased. "You'll start believing it talks." "Maybe it does," I said, forcing a smile. "It's Seattle, everything speaks in rain." He laughed softly, kissed my forehead, and said, "Big client meeting today. Don't wait up, I might be late." And just like that, a simple sentence, something in me cracked. The way his voice faltered, the way his eyes darted away. Love makes you sensitive to details you wish you could ignore. When he left, I stood there a long time, holding my coffee, watching his car disappear into the mist. I didn't know it yet, but that morning, the rain was warning me that love, no matter how strong, can hide secrets too heavy to hold. If you're listening to me right now, and you believe in love that tests the heart, please, subscribe to the channel so you can enjoy more of these love stories. Because what I'm about to tell you isn't just a story, it's a confession. That night, I was alone. Daniel had said he'd be late again, work emergencies, he called them. I sat in the kitchen, sketching layouts for my next design project, when his second phone, the one for clients, buzzed on the counter. I swear I didn't mean to touch it. But curiosity, or maybe fear, made me glance. One missed call. One voicemail. From someone named Sophie L. I hesitated, hand trembling, then pressed play. And in a heartbeat, the world I knew shattered. "Last night was perfect," a woman's voice whispered. "I can't stop thinking about you." My heart stopped. The air around me vanished. I replayed it once, twice, just to make sure I wasn't dreaming. Daniel had said he was working late. But someone else had been waiting for him in the dark. When he came home that night, smiling and careless, I forced myself to act normal. He kissed me, smelled like rain and aftershave. He asked about dinner. I said I wasn't hungry. He didn't notice how my hands shook. Or maybe he did, and just didn't care. Later, as he slept beside me, I lay awake, listening to the rain tapping on the glass. It sounded like tiny footsteps walking away. Days turned into weeks, and with every excuse he made, something in me died a little more. Late meetings. Client dinners. Phone calls he took outside in the rain. I stopped asking. I started observing. The lipstick stain on his shirt collar. The faint perfume that wasn't mine. The restaurant receipt from the Blue Lantern, a place where people went to fall in love or ruin it. When I asked, he laughed. "Lunch with a supplier," he said. But his voice lacked warmth, it had calculation. That Saturday, I couldn't take it anymore. I called his office, his assistant told me he was in an off-site meeting. With who? I asked. There was a pause. With Sophie Lane. That name again. Sophie. The voice from the voicemail. So I drove. Through the drizzle and the doubt. I parked outside the Blue Lantern, the city lights blurred by rain, and there he was, sitting by the window with her. She was younger, all red hair and dangerous confidence. They were laughing. Too close. Too comfortable. And then, she reached across the table and touched his hand. It felt like my soul cracked open. I drove home through the rain, numb, replaying that touch over and over. If you've ever trusted someone so much that their betrayal felt like a knife to the soul, then you'll understand what I felt that night. Subscribe to the channel so you can enjoy more of these love stories. Because what came next changed everything I thought I knew about love and lies. I didn't confront him. Not at first. Sometimes silence is louder than anger. I woke early, brewed coffee, and wrote him a letter, the hardest thing I've ever written. Daniel. I don't know who you are anymore. Maybe I never did. I loved you beyond reason, but love without truth is a slow death. Whatever you've done with Sophie, it's broken us. And I can't fix something you keep shattering. By the time you read this, I'll be gone. Clara. I folded it neatly, left it on his pillow, and started to pack. But that evening, he came home early, pale, drenched in rain, trembling. When he saw the suitcase by the door, his face fell. Clara, he whispered, breathless. What's going on? I didn't answer. I couldn't. He found the letter, read it slowly, and then looked up at me, eyes filled with something I didn't expect, fear, not guilt. It's not what you think, he said. Isn't that what they all say? I snapped. I'm not cheating on you, he said, voice cracking. But I am in trouble. Those words stopped me cold. He sat down, hands shaking. Sophie's been blackmailing me. I blinked. Blackmailing you? He nodded. It's about a project from years ago, before I met you. The Whitestone estate. The client was involved in laundering money, and Sophie found evidence tying me to it. She's been threatening to expose me unless I help her move stolen funds through my firm. I stared at him, trying to read the truth in his eyes. He reached for me. Clara, please. I met her to fix things. Not because of what you think. Rain pounded the roof as if echoing my heartbeat. I wanted to believe him, but doubt has a way of whispering louder than love. Then why didn't you tell me? I asked. I wanted to protect you, he whispered. I didn't want you dragged into it. That night, I didn't leave, not yet. But I also didn't forgive. And by morning, Sophie Lane was found dead. Morning came slow and gray. Seattle's skyline blurred beneath the drizzle as I brewed my coffee with trembling hands. Daniel hadn't slept. He sat by the kitchen table, eyes red, knuckles white around a mug he hadn't touched. The phone rang. Once. Twice. 3 times. He didn't move, so I answered. A woman's voice said softly, Mrs. Reynolds. This is Detective Moore from Seattle PD. I'm afraid there's been an incident. We need to speak with your husband regarding Sophie Lane. For a moment, I couldn't breathe. Sophie. Dead. The world went silent. When I hung up, Daniel was staring at me, face pale. What is it? He whispered. I didn't want to say it. Saying it made it real. They found her, Daniel. Sophie's dead. His mug slipped from his hands and shattered on the floor. I jumped at the sound. He whispered, oh my God. That's when I realized, the fear in his eyes wasn't for Sophie. It was for himself. Detective Henry Moore came that afternoon, calm, composed, eyes sharp enough to cut through walls. He asked Daniel to come down to the precinct for questioning. Routine, he said. But nothing felt routine. As Daniel gathered his things, I watched him, the man I loved, the man I doubted, and wondered which version of him was real. When the door closed behind them, I stood in the kitchen surrounded by the smell of coffee and broken porcelain. For the first time, I wondered if I'd married a stranger. If you're still listening, don't go anywhere. Love and truth are about to collide in ways I could never imagine. Subscribe to the channel so you can enjoy more of these love stories, because this one only gets darker from here. The next 48 hours felt like years. Daniel didn't come home that night. When I called the precinct, they said he was still assisting with the investigation. By morning, the news had already broken. Local architect questioned in death of woman found in Belltown apartment. His name. His picture. My husband. I couldn't think, couldn't breathe. My phone buzzed non-stop, friends pretending to care, reporters fishing for gossip. The city that once felt like home suddenly felt like a cage. When he finally returned late that night, he looked hollow. "They think I killed her," he said flatly. I swallowed. "Did you?" He flinched. "Clara. Just answer me." I snapped. "No." His voice cracked. "God, no. I didn't touch her. I met her that night, yes, to demand she delete those files. She was alive when I left." I studied his face, searching for lies. But fear looks a lot like guilt when you're watching the man you love fall apart. "They have security footage," he whispered. "It shows me leaving her building." "And no one else?" He shook his head. "Not yet." We sat in silence, broken by the steady tap of rain against the windows. Seattle's endless rain, like heaven crying for what we'd become. That night, I lay awake, remembering every promise he ever made me. "I'll protect you. I'll never lie to you. You're my home." Every word echoed like ghosts in my chest. A week later, an envelope arrived at our doorstep. No name, no return address. Inside was a single photograph, Sophie and Daniel sitting together at a cafe. But behind them, blurred but visible, was a face I recognized. Ethan Cole, Daniel's business partner. I felt my stomach twist. Ethan had been at our wedding. He'd toasted us with champagne and told me Daniel was the luckiest man alive. I showed Daniel the picture. He stared at it like he was seeing a ghost. "Ethan," he whispered. "He had nothing to do with Sophie." "Then why is he in the background of a photo you didn't even know existed?" Daniel didn't answer. Instead, he poured himself a drink, whiskey, straight. "I think you should talk to Detective Moore again," I said. He looked up sharply. "And tell him what?" "That my best friend might have been in the wrong place at the wrong time?" "No," I said quietly. "Tell him everything. Or you'll drown in secrets." He turned away. "You think I don't already feel like I'm drowning?" And for the first time, I saw the weight in his shoulders. The exhaustion of a man who didn't know if he'd survive the truth. Days turned into a blur of police calls, late-night interrogations, and sleepless hours staring at the ceiling. Then one evening, another envelope came, smaller, lighter. Inside, a USB drive. My hands shook as I plugged it into my laptop. A video file. A woman's voice. Sophie's voice. "If anything happens to me," she whispered on the recording, "tell Clara Reynolds. Her husband isn't the only one keeping secrets." The video cut off suddenly, but it was enough to send chills racing down my spine. I called Detective Moore immediately. He came within the hour. We watched the video together. He looked thoughtful, then said, "I think your husband's partner might be the key to all this." Later that night, Daniel came home. I told him about the video. He looked shaken. "She knew about Ethan," he murmured. "She must have been trying to use that against both of us." "Then why did she die, Daniel?" I asked softly. "Who wanted her gone?" He didn't answer, just turned away, staring at the rain streaking down the window. That silence scared me more than any confession could. Because sometimes, silence is truth in disguise. If your heart's racing like mine was that night, don't leave just yet. Subscribe to the channel so you can enjoy more of these love stories, because what came next broke me, rebuilt me, and changed the meaning of love forever. It had been 10 days since Sophie's death. 10 days since my marriage began to collapse beneath the weight of secrets. Daniel's firm, Cole and Reynolds Architects, was suddenly under investigation. Ethan Cole, Daniel's partner and best friend, had gone on a business trip to San Francisco the day Sophie died and hadn't returned since. Detective Moore's voice echoed in my head. When people vanish, it's rarely coincidence. That night, while Daniel showered, I opened his briefcase. I told myself it was to help him, to protect him, but maybe I just needed to know what kind of man I had really married. Inside, I found two things that didn't belong. A small silver flash drive, and a photograph. It was me and Daniel, smiling at a dinner party years ago, but written on the back were words in Sophie's handwriting. Truth burns quietly before it explodes. I didn't understand what it meant, but my gut told me that flash drive held the answer. When I plugged it into my laptop, a folder popped open. Inside were blueprints, financial records, and a document labeled Project Rainfall. I clicked it. The file detailed an illegal property scheme, millions laundered through shell companies, tied to Ethan Cole's name, and Daniel's digital signature at the bottom. I froze. The man I loved, the man I defended, was part of something criminal. Then I heard his voice behind me. "Why are you going through my things, Clara?" I jumped, slamming the laptop shut. He was standing in the doorway, towel around his waist, eyes dark as storm clouds. I found this in your briefcase," I stammered. "Daniel, what is Project Rainfall?" His silence lasted too long. Finally, he whispered, "It's not what you think." "Then tell me what it is." He sighed, sitting on the edge of the bed. "It's a project Ethan started. A real estate deal. I just signed off the papers, but I didn't know he was laundering money through it." I studied him carefully, the way his jaw clenched, the flicker of guilt in his eyes. "Did Sophie find out?" He hesitated. That was all the answer I needed. The next morning, I met Detective Moore at a small diner downtown. He looked tired, but alert. I slid the flash drive across the table. "This might help your case," I said. He plugged it into his laptop and his brow furrowed as he scrolled. "This," he muttered. "This could blow the case open. If what's here is true, Ethan Cole had motive, and maybe Daniel got caught in the crossfire." I swallowed. "Crossfire?" He looked at me. Sophie might have discovered the scheme and tried to expose it. Someone silenced her. I felt my stomach turn. "You think Ethan killed her?" He didn't answer, but his silence spoke volumes. That night, I came home to find Daniel gone again. His phone went straight to voicemail. His car wasn't in the driveway. Hours later, I got a text from an unknown number. "You shouldn't have gone to the police. Some truths are buried for a reason." My blood went cold. I called Detective Moore immediately. "Someone's threatening me," I whispered. "Stay inside," he said. "Lock every door. I'm on my way." But when he arrived, the house was empty, Daniel's clothes gone, his laptop missing. Only a note remained on our bed. "Clara, don't trust anyone. Not even Moore. I'll explain soon. Just keep yourself safe. D." My world spun. I didn't know what to believe anymore. Was he protecting me, or warning me? 2 days passed before I heard from Daniel again. He called from an unknown number, voice trembling. Clara, listen to me. Ethan set us both up. He used my name, forged signatures, and blackmailed Sophie when she found out. When she threatened to go public, he panicked. Then where are you? I asked. Why did you run? Because Moore isn't who you think he is, he said quietly. He's been working with Ethan all along. That's why they always seem one step ahead. I stole files that prove it, but if they find me, I'm dead. My pulse raced. Daniel, come home. We'll figure it out. I can't, he whispered. Meet me tomorrow at the old pier. 10 p.m. Bring no one. The line went dead. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every creak of the house felt like footsteps. Every shadow looked like betrayal. When I finally drifted into uneasy sleep, I dreamt of Sophie, standing beneath the rain, whispering. The truth burns quietly before it explodes. When I woke, I knew I had to go. The pier was empty when I arrived. The wind howled through the rusted beams, and waves slapped against the wood below. Then I saw him, Daniel, standing near the edge, soaked to the bone. He turned when he heard me. You came, he said softly. Of course I came, I said. Just tell me the truth, Daniel. Everything. He nodded, stepping closer. Ethan killed Sophie. She tried to warn me, but it was too late. I took the blame to buy time. I needed proof before going to the feds. And more? He's been protecting Ethan's trail. They both made millions off the scheme. Before I could respond, headlights flashed behind us. A car stopped. Ethan Cole stepped out, gun in hand. I told you not to involve her, Daniel, he snarled. Now she knows too much. Ethan, please, Daniel said, raising his hands. We can fix this. There's no fixing betrayal. A shot rang out. I screamed. Daniel fell to the ground. The world blurred, rain, blood, the sound of my own heartbeat. Ethan turned toward me, eyes cold. You should have stayed out of this, Clara. Before he could fire again, sirens wailed in the distance. Detective Moore's voice shouted, drop the weapon. Ethan turned, fired twice, then collapsed as Moore returned fire. The pier fell silent except for the rain. I crawled to Daniel, clutching his hand as he gasped. I'm sorry, he whispered. For everything. For loving you too much, and not enough. His hand went still. The rain kept falling. And that was the night love died, quietly, beneath the rain. If this story moved you, don't forget, subscribe to the channel so you can enjoy more of these love stories. Because love, even when broken, still finds a way to be remembered. Seattle never stopped raining. But I did learn to stop hiding. Daniel was cleared of all charges, posthumously. Ethan's crimes were exposed, and Moore was arrested for corruption. Sometimes I still visit the pier. I bring a single white rose and let it drift into the water. And every time the rain touches my face, I imagine Daniel beside me, whispering apologies the wind carries away. Love didn't save us. But it taught me something deeper. Even in betrayal, even in loss, the heart still remembers how to beat. And maybe that's enough.